Well, I have to tell y'all, if y'all didn't catch it, I am Tanya Miller, and I am your nominee for Attorney General. I want to say, first of all, thank you to Chair Charlie Bailey and to the entire DPG apparatus for putting on this amazing convention and for not making me go after Judge Penny. Thank you for that. All right. So I see so many friends in here, so many of y'all who have known me since before this journey and have certainly gotten to know me on the trail. But for those of you who don't, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story and why I'm standing here. I grew up in the mean and cold streets of Cleveland, Ohio. All right. We got some refugees down here from Ohio. I watched my mother work a union job with great pride. And as a child, I grasped what organizing meant when she talked about how the union would protect her. And then I watched how much our life changed when she lost that union job. There were times I had to do homework by candlelight and kept warm by a space heater. My mother, you see, was part of what we call the working poor, one of millions of Americans who work hard and still find themselves one paycheck away from losing everything. Now, I'm not telling you this because I want you to feel sad for me. I had an amazing childhood, a mother who loved me dearly. I am telling you this because I want you to understand that when I talk about the plight of working people, when I say I understand the economic anxiety of working people, when I tell you I'm going to put working people first, I want you to understand where that comes from. My mother never called off work. Not through exhaustion, not through pain, not through sickness. She just kept going. Because stopping, as so many moms and dads know here, is not an option when you got babies who depend on you. She never stopped telling me my voice mattered, that education was the key. You see, my mother was pulling the next generation forward, even when she could barely push through. And yet, here I stand. I remember wishing that someone would protect my mother, that someone would stick up for my mother. And it's that yearning for protection that sent me to law school, where I fell in love with the law, its stability, its consistency. It felt like stableness in the midst of chaos. It made me feel safe as a kid who grew up with a lot of instability. I became a lawyer because I fundamentally believe that the courtroom is the place where everyday citizens, the Davids, with only a slingshot, are on equal footing with the Goliaths. I became a lawyer to be the advocate and the fighter that my family always needed. I spent my career as a prosecutor, as a civil rights lawyer, and then as a lawmaker, using the law to protect working people. For more than 2 decades, I have fought on the front lines of justice, fought for victims of unspeakable crimes. I fought to bring child abusers and murderers to justice. I fought ruthless insurance companies that turn their backs on working families in their times of crisis. I fought greedy slumlords who profited while children lived unsafe in their homes. I defended Georgians and their constitutional rights with fairness and fidelity to the law. And every step of the way, my brothers and sisters, my fellow Georgians, I have put people first, always. As your nominee, I am running to be the people's lawyer, not a politician's lawyer, not a party's lawyer, not the president's lawyer, the people. That is my solemn obligation, to put the people first. And working people, now more than ever, need a fierce protector right now. Because you see, they are working harder than ever and still falling behind. Georgians are being crushed by gas prices, grocery bills, rent, health care. The cost of living a decent life in Georgia has become a daily fight just to get by. And at every turn, my opponent, with his MAGA cronies, have thrown gasoline on the economic fire. My opponent has made it harder to hold big corporations accountable when they hurt Georgia families. He has spent his career protecting corporations from the Georgians they've harmed. And now those same corporations are funding his campaign. As Georgians struggle to keep up, he voted to make it harder to get good health care and food assistance. Let me tell you something, he will not stand up to Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans in Washington, even as their reckless agenda is harming Georgia families. Well, let me tell you something. The AG is the state's top prosecutor. My opponent has never prosecuted a case. So how can he be relied upon to protect Georgia families? Most recently, he received the endorsement of Donald Trump. That was his reward after years of putting the MAGA agenda, Project 2025, and powerful special interests ahead of Georgia working families. I would expect nothing less. You see, at the end of the day, my opponent is running to be Donald Trump's lawyer. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm running to be yours. With these attacks on our elections, our health care, our economy, Georgians cannot afford another unqualified Donald Trump lackey. We can't afford another attorney general who lacks the courage to stand up to Donald Trump when he goes too far. We know he's gonna go too far. That's why I'm running. That's why I'm here. As the only prosecutor in this race, I know what it takes to keep Georgia families safe. We're gonna crack down on fentanyl destroying communities, human trafficking, robbing our children of a future, and violent crime terrorizing working families in their communities. And we're gonna make sure our local law enforcement and local prosecutors have the support they need to do their job effectively and fairly with respect to the communities that they serve. You see, I've fought ruthless insurance companies that turn their backs on hardworking families. And let me tell you something, that's exactly the fight I'm gonna bring to this office. Prosecuting anyone who breaks the law in Georgia, no matter how much money or how much power they have. I have spent my career using the law as a sword and a shield for working people. And unlike my opponent, I will never sit on the sidelines while corporate greed rips off Georgia families. And let me tell you something else. I know that together, this people power we have in this room, we will win this fight. I have had the good fortune to travel the highways and byways of this great state on the campaign trail, and in doing that, I've thought a lot about my grandmother, Willie B. Miller, born in 1922 in Louisville, Mississippi. She was born without many rights, including the right to vote. My mother was the full recipient in my bloodline directly of full-fledged participation in our democracy. She was born in 1950, and I was the first in my lineage born with the full protection of voting rights. Not my mother, not my grandmother, me. And here we are in 2026, as Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans want to undo what Georgia heroes like John Lewis fought and bled for. My daughter is in a position to lose civil rights and liberties in her lifetime. My grandchildren who are not yet born could come into this world with fewer rights than I had. And I'm gonna tell you something, my brothers and sisters, it will not happen on my watch. The right to vote is not a gift from any politician to revoke. It is our solemn right. It is our right as citizens. And I know you all will remember, a few months ago, the MAGA movement tried to come to Georgia and rig our maps. They tried to dilute our voting power and strip us of equal protection in our democracy. But you know what stopped them? You did. That's people power. That is what happens when we fight. And that is exactly the kind of energy that we need, Georgia Democrats, right now. We have to keep up the fight. We have to use people power. We have to stay united. And I need you guys to keep showing up day after day, week after week, now until November. Know this, every dollar you donate, every door you knock, every call you make between now and November is one step closer to a better, safer, more inclusive, more fair Georgia that we are building together. Now, as a homicide prosecutor, I never lost a case. And with your support, I don't plan on losing this fight for Georgia families. Shirley Chisholm said, "You don't make progress standing on the sidelines, whimpering and complaining. You make progress by implementing ideas. It's our time now, Georgia. Therefore, this granddaughter of the South, this direct descendant of my grandmother, Willie B. Miller, and the daughter of Lillian, the proud union worker, humbly accepts your nomination as a Democratic nominee to become Georgia's next Attorney General." Thank you. I love you. Let's get to work, Georgia.